Alright everyone, welcome to my channel. This is wxninjaa. Appreciate all the love and support. Leave a like if you like this video, and subscribe, help support me out. I appreciate it. So let's get right into it. The latest as of about 6:30 Eastern Daylight Time. You see the satellite loop here. Put the cursor here on where this storm starts, the eye wall of Dorian, and look where it ends up. So here's where it starts, that northern edge, just wobbled a little bit south. So that makes me think, you know, this point here might be somewhere down in here. We definitely don't want to see that, but it looks like that might happen. The Bahamas still getting hammered. You can see those islands. Lots and lots of rain and wind, and we'll look at a few pictures of that here in a second, but not a good situation for all these people in here. Hopefully no one's here. Hopefully everyone evacuated maybe down here to some of these further southern islands that aren't going to get hit as hard. We're starting to see just a little bit of the, not outer rain bands, but just some effects of the hurricane throwing some moisture into West Palm Beach area and Miami. That will continue to increase, obviously, as we go on throughout the day and into the night. So everyone there, you know, I hope people are prepared and taking this seriously, because this is a dangerous Cat 5 hurricane. So let's go to the next page here. This is the latest update as of 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Not a whole lot has changed. Looks like the pressure came down by 1 millibar, still moving west at 5 miles an hour and with 185 mile per hour winds. Who knows what the gusts are inside of the eye wall. Yeah, Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter mission confirmed winds has increased to above 157 miles per hour. So that's just confirmed. This 185 is probably estimated based on all the other data. And you can see some showers firing up on the west coast there of Orlando. Of Florida. Here's the track. It still hasn't changed. The spaghetti model has not updated yet. It will when the models come out. But like we said, if this moves just a little further, you know, say 20 miles or whatever, you can move this all over about 20 miles, and that'll make a huge difference on how much wind and rain and storm surge all these areas of the eastern coast of Florida, Georgia, into the Carolinas will get. So dangerous situation. This is a video. I'm not going to play it, but you can go to weather.com and watch it. From the Bahamas, it looks like northwestern Bahamas trying to feel the impact of powerful Hurricane Dorian with blasting wind and pelting rain. So I just can imagine that storm surge, angry ocean right there. It's going to come on, and if you look, you know, it's battering it right here. It's coming in from the north, and it's just going to flood all these islands. It's going to be intense storm surge. They were talking 18 to 24 feet. That's obviously a lot of water. I don't know how much terrain is hills in here and how flat it is. I've never been out there, but you can imagine that they're going to get hammered. There's a lot of hills. You still have to worry about flooding, because as that orographic lift happens, as this moisture hits the mountains, it's just going to really wring out those clouds, send all that water down into any cities and towns down in here in these low-lying areas. Got to be really careful. Excuse me. I imagine that there's a onshore wind right now going on over here on the east coast of Florida. I believe we have a map that'll look at that here in a second. Yeah, you can see these onshore winds. They're not too strong right now, it doesn't look like, but they will increase as time goes on and this gets closer. And again, you can see that it tracked a little south. So we'll update this. It's going to take a second, but you can see the outer bands. They're going to have thunderstorms in them. You're going to see, usually it's the right front quadrant that has the most for tornadoes and severe weather, but you know, with it being hot and humid over here, you throw this moisture on top, you might get some severe storms in here. Obviously dangerous lightning around. Florida is known for that. You got to be real careful. If you're in these areas, you get a water spout, you know, which same thing as a tornado. It's a water spout and water comes over land, then it becomes a tornado. You know, and even an EF1 tornado coming on land here, I mean, that still can cause some damage. So you still have to be real careful. Obviously, it's the end of summer, Labor Day weekend. A lot of people are, a lot of people out there for the holiday weekend. Let's just say that. So hopefully the evacuations are in order, and these areas don't have a lot of people, because if this thing does come closer, it's not going to take long to start to feel these effects, and getting people out of this area is going to take a while, as we know. So this is taking forever to update. Let's go to the next page. Here's the satellite. Again, one thing I want to point out in this storm history, last update was 1 September 2019, 2100 UTC. You look at that pressure, 910. So in the last 3 hours, it's only gone down 1. It's moved west at 5 versus west at 7, so the slowdown they predicted in the models is happening. The models didn't really predict this thing jogging south, but with a hurricane, it's going to wobble. And how long this thing continues west, it does have no northern component to it yet. It actually went a little south, so it's not good news. It's not what you want to see if you live on the coast of Florida. And you can see those intense thunderstorms firing up on this west coast of Florida, which is just more impacts of the storm. So you can see the outer band right here. It shot off, and now here it is impacting the coast. That actually is an outer band. I didn't think it was. Did you see over here on radar some of these little ones? Let's go back to this one. So some of these right here, just beginning of the outer bands coming into the east coast of Florida. So as you can see, this is strong. So one thing I want to point out, 24 hours, it's gone from 910 millibars, maximum sustained winds 185 miles an hour. Look at yesterday at the same time roughly, it was at 945 with 150 mile per hour winds. So that pressure's gone down 35 millibars and the wind's gone up, you know, quite substantially. That's sustained winds, yeah, so 160 miles per hour. So sustained winds haven't gone up, but I would have to think the gusts have. With that pressure drop west at 8, and now it's west at we've actually, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one, 185 mile an hour. So 910 millibars, 185 mile an hour versus 24 hours ago when it's 150 mile per hour winds with 945 millibars. So, you know, that's gone down. It's gone down 35, and the winds have ramped up just about the same. So another thing to look at here is, here's the Atlantic, there's Africa. This is what happened, all the storms. You see a big storm right there. They come off the coast of Africa, the west coast of Africa, they head out across the Atlantic here, and this is where they form. This is a big weekend for storms. It's just, you know, you're pretty much at the height of hurricane season, and this is what happens. You get these warm waters, and when you don't have much of a steering current, you know, we have the high pressure up over here, another one over the central U.S. So everything's being forced to stay in this area, which is prime land. Otherwise, they'll come in here sometimes when there's high pressure blocking in the Caribbean, in the Gulf of Mexico. That'll bring the storms in, and they'll hit the islands here, but they'll curve off to the east like this. They'll kind of go in a U shape, C shape. I do know the alphabet. They'll go in a C shape here because there'll be blocking here, but right now there's no steering current to block that. All the blocking's up in here and over in here. That's what allows these storms to come in. They come in at the bottom, they undercut these high pressure systems and come in. Now the reason that Dorian might go up the coast here of the eastern US is this high pressure system is here. It's going on the back side of this high pressure system because the high is going like this, the flow around it's going like this. As you can see, it's going this way and this is coming this way. So this is allowing the storm to get caught on the back side of this high pressure system that's over here, allowing it to come up the east coast. If the high pressure system was here, this would go into the Gulf of Mexico and do who knows what. So we're fortunate in that sense for the east coast of the U.S. that it's this high pressure system isn't further here, or the one in the central U.S. isn't further east. Otherwise, this thing would go in here, and you'd see a you know, maybe another repeat Hurricane Katrina back in 2005, which I witnessed. Not the hurricane itself, but the damage. I went down to New Orleans a little while after Katrina, and the damage was just extensive. Blew my mind away at how powerful the hurricane is. Seeing the height of the waters and the damage, and you know, driving down the road and seeing boats and houses in the middle of the road was just devastating. Whole neighborhoods were gone, boarded up, apartment complexes, everything you can imagine that you see on TV I saw firsthand, and it was something. Saw the National Guard come in and all that kind of stuff. So scary situation. I know what these hurricanes can do. Thank God I don't live on the East Coast and I don't have to deal with them. But so remember these areas here and here and here. So let's take a look at them. So there's Dorian. This is the one in the Gulf of Mexico, which is this little disturbance right here. This is just other things to watch. They're giving this less than 40% chance. Actually saying less than 40%. So the next 48 hours, it has a 20% chance of forming into anything. Let's hope it doesn't. And then in 5 days, 30% chance. So a little bit higher chance as you go 5 days out, but that's just the uncertainty. Next is this one, 48 hours, 10%, 5 days, 30%. There's no closed surface circulation. Basically what that means is it's not real organized like we saw with Dorian. With this formed eye, there's no low pressure system that's really organized and just cranking out to give this spin to get everything organized. This is an extremely organized storm with Dorian. You see these high cloud tops, really intense in there. That's what helps this hurricane to form. When you have something like this that's broke and it's not really tight like that, it's not going to form into much. Excuse me. This one is if you look at it here, see it's a little bit bigger of an area. Here's the other one that they don't give much of a chance, and then here's the one in the Gulf. So this one you can kind of see there's a little bit of a round shape to it, but it's not really the circulation. It's just the way the thunderstorms are kind of formed, and you can see it's kind of dying off on the eastern part. On the western part, there's a little bit more thunderstorms, but it's not well organized at all. Let's go back to this one. This one's right here. Doesn't look very impressive, but obviously there's something going on in there that they think it's going to get more organized. Part of the reason is probably this one is probably going to get cut out when this high pressure system, as it moves off to the east, it's going to allow this one to go up. Cooler waters up here, not much chance that this is going to get together because of those cool waters. Even if it did form into, let's say, a tropical storm or a Cat 1 hurricane, it would still probably go off to the east there and wouldn't affect land, probably would die off somewhere over here. But with this one, you know, it's getting, as they say, show signs of becoming better organized. Environmental conditions appear conducive for additional development during the next several days. So the reason for that, it's in much warmer waters. This is a much better area right through here for this thing to form. Warmer waters, and the warmer waters, like I mentioned last time, they're a lot deeper. So that definitely gives it more potential for development. So that's the latest as of about 6 o'clock, almost 7 o'clock now, Eastern Daylight Time. This is based off Central Daylight Time, so that's why it's an hour difference. But you can see this storm, like I said, you know, it started kind of up here. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. The jog south is not huge, but it's south. It's definitely south. You can see that as you go over. Try to go over in a straight line here. I mean, you can see it's moved south a little bit. Not huge. I don't know how many miles that is. Maybe that's only 20 miles, but again, 20 miles is going to make a huge difference here of how much, you know, storm surge we see, how much wind, how much rain. Yeah, I mean, maybe this thing, once it slows down, it'll shoot more north. That's another thing that could happen. Rather than take a gradual northwest turn, it could almost shoot just straight north, even if it does come over here, and that would only affect, you know, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Fort Pierce, Palm Bay. Maybe it would just affect those areas and then go up and off, you know, with a track more like this, rather than skirting the coast and going into the Carolinas. So we'll see what happens. I'll do another update here, I don't know, probably in the next couple hours again, and we'll just see. We'll see how this thing does. It's still, you know, the pressure lowered again. The winds are staying just as strong, and it's slowed down. So these islands, you know, they're pretty small, so they're not, it's not like it's going over a big area of land. You can see it's actually coming back over water now, so that's just going to help it maintain that strength. even if it does track straight over these islands, it's not going to slow down strength-wise a lot. Maybe goes up a few millibars. Maybe the winds die down to 180, 175, but still, I mean, really the difference between 175 and 185, I mean, come on, you're still going to talk a very big, powerful hurricane with destructive winds. So that's the latest from here. I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll let you guys know what's going on. Take care.